Hello and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I'm Deirdre, and today I'm talking about the steps that will help you find the right home when you are thinking about downsizing. Perhaps when you're retiring, but there are other reasons as well. But mainly I'm thinking about these people who have been in the big family home and now the children are adults and have left, and you're just looking at this big home and you're thinking, right, well, what's our next step? But before I start, I'd just like to invite you to subscribe, and if you like this sort of video, let me know by talking to me down in the comments down below, and giving me a thumbs up if this is the sort of thing you're interested in, because that helps me to give you more of what you want. I'd also say that it's Halloween tonight, so tomorrow obviously starts November, and I had asked, and you have answered, that you would like zone cleaning through November, because I said, well, I've got to get back on track, and if you would like to follow along, we'll do it together. Okay, let's get started. Steps to finding your downsized home. Right, a slight interruption. I just had to shut the window. Some people outside speaking very loudly, of course, because I've been waiting all day for the people who are doing a renovation, the tradesmen who are renovating in the apartment to that way, to stop drilling, and then the minute it's quiet, somebody starts speaking loudly just outside the window. I can't win. I seriously can't at the moment. Okay, step number one in the whole process is know if you're ready. Are you actually ready? Is it the right time for you to do this? Do you actually want to do it? And I know that it seems like a given that everybody will downsize, but it may not be the right time for you just at this minute. And lots of people don't ever downsize because they're happy in their homes. There's no financial requirement for them to downsize. They can make other arrangements for people to assist them in maintaining the property, etc. So I've seen people get sort of herded into it almost by real estate agents, by family, by friends who are doing it. And you really have to ask yourself, A, is it the right time for you? And B, whether you actually want to do it at all. Well, right now anyway. Just because a real estate agent knocks at your door and says, oh, we can get this great price for you and it's a good time to downsize and da-da-da-da-da, you are not required to entertain them for 2 seconds. Just say no thank you and shut the door. This is not something you want to get pushed into. If you're not naturally feeling it, then just turn people away. Do not listen. If your kids want you to downsize for whatever reason, that's actually not their business. It's your business. If you love your home, if you love your garden, if there's no real need, either a health need or a financial need, or one of distance where you want to be closer to family and friends perhaps, then you don't have to do this. And because some of your friends might do it, and because your children might think it's a good idea, and because the real estate agents will constantly tell you what a good idea it is, you don't have to do it. I think it's really important that you wait until you want it, because that makes everything else about the process so much easier, because you haven't lost control of the process. You haven't been coerced into it or suggested into it or sort of elbowed into it. It hasn't happened for any other reason than that you want it, that it's a need for you. It's a decision for you to make on your own or with your partner, and the two of you or just yourself, you need to sort this out for yourself and don't take anybody else into consideration. You know your needs, you know what you love. You don't want to leave your garden, and you can afford to not leave your garden, and your health is good and your home is fine, then stay. Repurpose rooms if you want to. Change the study that's downstairs with the guest bathroom beside it into your bedroom, and the guest bathroom becomes the ensuite. You can do what you like. You can spend a little money because it's expensive to move. You can have painters come in and tidy the place up. You can have a gardener come in and help you once a week or twice a week or once a month or once a season. It doesn't matter how you work it out, but if there is a possibility that you can work it out and you would like to stay, then do what you need to do. It's your home. Rename rooms, make it work your way, and you can keep living there just the way you like it, for as long as you want to and for as long as it's the right decision for you. Okay, so step 2. Once you've decided yes, it is the time and yes, you would like to do it, then you've got to think about where. Before you think about anything else, you've got to be aware and you've got to think about what it is I really want in terms of location. Do you want to stay in your known area? You just want to get something that's small enough to maintain, still got a bit of room for entertainment. You can stay with your local shops, your local doctor, your local, library, and all of those things. Know the public transport routes. Find it easier to drive for a longer time because you know the area really well, and that certainly helps. All of these sorts of things come into it, that it's a comfortable place. You may have lived there for 10 years, you may have lived there for 40. But the reality is, if you like it and you want to stay, then it's a matter of finding some accommodation in some way that is going to suit the next stage in your life the way you want it to be. Or, and a lot of people do this, they move to be closer to their friends and family. I know when my parents were retired, they decided to move to be nearer to where I think there were 3 out of the 4 children. I'm the 5th. I was here in Australia, but the 3 of the others and their families were in Auckland and in New Zealand, and only one was actually still in Christchurch. So they moved to Auckland and had many long, happy years in a completely new environment. It is possible, and that closeness to friends and family is very special and important. So if that's what you want, then decide on your area, talk to your kids, work it out with them, adult to adult. Of course, some people move to a warmer climate. I have friends who do summers in Melbourne and winters. Melbourne winters, they go north, the equivalent of the snowbirds, and fly down to Florida for the winter out of the northern areas. And I think, well, yeah, that's perfectly sensible. Now, the other thing that people might do, and I'm all for this one, is maybe it's time for you to embrace your dream. If you have retired or retired from that career, many people see this as their chance for a sea change, or a tree change, or a cafe change. So head to the ocean, head to the beaches, or buy a country property, or move into the city so they've got all of the things that they haven't been doing while they lived in the suburbs right at their fingertips. You walk out your front door and there are cafes, there's easy public transport, there's all the music, all the theatre, and I mean theatre in the biggest sense, the festivals, the street festivals, the fireworks, all of the things that happen in a city, just that buzz that you may really, really want to live with. Now you can enjoy the city. So sea change, obvious reasons. Tree change, maybe you want to farm llamas. Hey, not such a bad idea. And the city change, the cafe change is pretty nice as well. Step 3, assess your stage of life. For example, how big a home do you want? Does it have to be all on one level? Could you manage stairs for the next 10, 20 years? Who knows? Maybe you're an extremely fit and healthy person and you can see yourself always being able to climb stairs. If you are thinking of downgrading the level of maintenance that you want to do, maybe you don't want to stop completely doing some maintenance. Maybe you just want a smaller garden or a courtyard, front and back perhaps, that you would have if you went into, say, a townhouse or a duplex. Do you intend to keep driving, or do you want to be somewhere you've got really easy access to all of the amenities you need, the shops, the doctors, whatever, butcher, baker, candlestick maker? Those are the things that you might want to walk to, and if you were perhaps choosing a townhouse or an apartment, then absolutely be able to do that. Walk to your local park, enjoy that wonderful ground and the bush and all the gardens that you don't have to maintain. Okay, step 4. This is about what sort of style do you want, and physically what sort of accommodation. Perhaps you want a small house. It's easier to maintain, but there's still room to entertain, perhaps for the Christmas and the holidays. And then of course there's the townhouse, which is the classic duplex, or townhouse if it's split that way, isn't it? Or you may wish to go into an apartment / condo, and they often have things like swimming pools, perhaps a gym, a barbecue terrace on the top, or some gardens, nice gardens around the main apartment buildings, those sorts of things. Obviously secure parking. It just depends on finding the right place for you. Next step, what condition is it in? Do you want, for example, what I call a turnkey, where everything is perfect? It may not have furniture in it, but it's got everything else. Everything's done, and it's brand new, or it's just been renovated and it's in pristine condition. The appliances are all in excellent condition, if not new. Everything's fine. You don't need to change anything. Or you might decide that as a bit of a project that you'd like to do some level of renovation. Perhaps the painting, change the style, change the colours. Or you could do a complete gut, or you could do somewhere between the two, and perhaps redo the bathroom, kitchen, that sort of thing, as well as just generally renovating and redecorating. Be aware of what you're prepared to do, and it may be perfect. It may be absolutely perfect for you to go in and do a renovation. That'd be just the right sort of thing for you to do. Or you may be just delighted to walk in and into a display suite and take the whole thing. So where are you now? Now you're at the point where you need to look at all your options. All the things that I've talked about are in here, okay? So how do you decide what you really want? And at this point, I'd say this is the information gathering stage. You've done all your sorting about what you want, where you want it, what style you want, how much of a place you want, and all of those things. Now you've got to think about what you'd like it to look like. This is where you have to learn all of your options. Visit open homes, houses that are for sale. Go to display homes that are being sold by contract builders. Have a look. They're all set up beautifully, but they also are set up in a way that shows you how you can use different styles, perhaps a more modern style, perhaps just a completely different style from the one you've been used to. Maybe you've been in a more traditional home and you want to go contemporary or a little minimal, or you'd like to do the whole Nordic look or a little bit farmhouse and soften it up that way. You can do anything you like. This is your time, remember, you get to decide. But the way that it's easy to decide is to go and look. Go to furniture showrooms, because they have interior designers who set the whole place up so it looks beautiful. They have different rooms set up, they have bedrooms set up and living rooms with all sorts of different styles. They have kitchens set up, just so you can explore and go, oh yes, I feel really at home in this, I like the look of this. Take photos. Sometimes you need to ask, most of the time you don't. These days we're all so used to having our phones and people just snap photos of things. And this is also when you've got to start looking at your furniture and know that that big rolled arm sofa that you've loved so much is not going to really fit, either style-wise or size-wise, or even into, as I discussed in the last video, it may even fit into your new home physically through the doors. And that's why we talk about things being an apartment style sofa. And what we've gone to are things with much more narrow arms. You think about a wide arm times 2, that's taking up 1/2 metre of space at least. And if you come down to a nicely padded, shapely, narrower arm, you've gained nearly 1/2 metre, I'd say, overall. So those sorts of things, you've got to think about that big cabinet that you have that you love. But if it's very deep, some cabinets are 750 mil deep, and that's really big. You know, it's like nearly 3/4 of a metre. So think about how much physical space they will take up. You can certainly put in style in different ways, and if you'd like me to, I can talk about that another way down the track. But let me know, because there are ways of making any space look pretty much the way you want it to look like. If you want traditional in a very modern apartment, you can have it. If you want country style in a modern apartment building, you can have it. If you've got, say, a cottage style house, you can strip it out and make it modern and go contemporary, go mid-century, go Nordic. You can do anything you like with any space. And if you would like me to talk about that sort of thing, then let me know down in the comments below and I will. But at this point, I'd say don't panic. And I know that sounds easier to say than not, but maybe you need to hire a downsizing stylist for you. I mean, I do this for people. This is what I do here in Melbourne, but I'm sure they'll be able to find somebody, no matter where you are, somebody to basically hold your hand, take you through the process, deal with some of the emotional stuff that comes along, perhaps absorb it, because, you know, I've seen people do this a lot, and you get into a rhythm of finding how people are attached to things and how you can work around it, or how to include those things. And it's the old story, you can have what you want, you just can't have it all at once. And that's pretty much how I feel about downsizing. And that brings me to number 7, which is this is the time that you have to get serious about downsizing your things. You really have to begin that downscaling of the physical number of things you own. You really can't take it all with you. I know that's meant to refer to something else, but in this case I'm talking about from a large family home to a much smaller downsized accommodation, be whatever. You can't take it all with you. So this is when you've got to get serious, and you've got to be realistic. Your kids won't want it, and that's fair too. Don't expect them to want it. I mean, offer them any opportunity to come take what they like, but don't get upset when they say no thanks, we don't want any of it. There's the generation that comes along behind us, they're travelling light, and I've got to take my hat off to them. I think they're great. I think they're lighter footprint on the planet in lots of ways. They look at different ways of using things, they pass things on, they think about how they can reuse items, how they can repurpose things, how they can arrange their living so that it works for them. And they don't want great-grandma's things, they don't want grandma's things, and I'm sorry, they probably don't want your things either. So I know that you cherish that beautiful whatever, but maybe nobody else does. And the reality is, unless you use it on a daily or weekly or even monthly basis, you probably are not going to use it enough to include taking it with you. And the frightening thing about it is that there's no value attached to it anyway. By all means, have a go, sell it on eBay if you can, sell it on whatever trading system you've got. Try consignment stores. They are full to here with china, with crystal, with beautiful silver, where they don't want it. They can't sell it. Nobody's buying it. I'm sorry, you can't put it in the dishwasher? That's not happening. And I like that attitude. I wasn't like that, but I like the fact that the kids are today. Okay, slight interruption to change the memory card. Always a good idea. And here we are, we're at the last one. And the last one, like the first one, is really important. And that is, please, please promise me you will not buy until you have sold your home. And I don't mean got an offer, it's all exciting. No, I mean that cold hard cash has cleared everybody's bank accounts and has hit yours and is locked in and it's in your account in full. Okay, that the whole process is finished, you've done it. Now obviously I'm not talking to those people who don't need to worry about this, but let me tell you that you will have no idea what your home is worth and therefore what you have to spend on your next one until the money actually hits your account, because the only thing that can tell you what your home will fetch is the market. It's not what the house next door sold for. It's not what the real estate agent tells you with great joy that you will get for it. It's not what you hoped. It may be more, who knows? But the point is, you don't know. Nobody knows what you will get for your home until you actually got it in the bank and it's done. And that is when you can go and stop window shopping, which you've been doing, which is fair. You've got to know what you want and you've got to be able to window shop. That this is when you can stop window shopping and actually put in an offer for a place, but not before. Here we are, we're at the end of 2018, and I don't think anybody who is honest can call what's going to happen to housing markets around the world, to markets in general around the world in the next few years. If they could, they'd be magicians, and I don't actually believe in them. They're really good on Netflix. They are not so real in real life. So promise me that you will not fall in love and decide to do something silly, because we all know we can fall in love and think that that house is just the only one that you've got to have. It's not. You've lived without it up till now. You don't have to have it. And if you lose something that was never yours and you never had, well, so be it. You've lived without it up till now. You can do so again and take the ideas from it. Take the style that you loved, let it teach you something. All right, maybe it had something you can't replicate, like beautiful views, but hey, you can do virtually everything else. So promise me you won't let it happen and that you will be sensible. But I'd love to hear about your thoughts and what you think about this and how you would go about it. And I just think that it's really important that you go into this next period in your life without stress, knowing why you've done it, knowing how you're going to do it, knowing what it's going to cost you. And you go forward happily and you're the person running it, so that suddenly it's not somebody forcing you to get rid of half your stuff. No, you're choosing this. That makes a huge, huge difference. I just want you to be in a good place, mentally, physically, financially, so you can get the best out of it, lead your best life, just have a really good downsizing experience. So what do you think? If you would like to have some more of this sort of thing, if you would like to talk about style and how you upstyle, downstyle, change apartments, change houses to do what you want it to do, let me know. Let me know if you'd like me to talk about that. Now there's a plane or helicopter going overhead. It's just one of those afternoons. Okay, so do that. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this or you'd like to see more, and I'll be back with November starting tomorrow. See you then, and happy Halloween. Bye.